Welcome back to GN Sports, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Tyson Bagent said last night during his post-game presser that I'll be a mirror when it goes bad and a window when it goes good. Well, after last night's loss, he's probably taking a hard look at himself in the mirror. His teammates hopefully are doing the same as well. Kaitlin Sharkey caught up with Herb Howard from the Bigs, and they broke down all that went wrong last night in La La Land.
Herb, there's a lot to talk about this one because a lot went wrong, and it seemed to be the complete opposite of their game last week against the Raiders. A lot of complimentary football last week. We didn't see any of that this week.
No, they didn't play complimentary football. The defense wasn't, kind of taking the ball away. They were missing some tackles. There were some opportunities for them to make tackles and take the ball away. They just didn't take advantage of that. You didn't see the big plays in the kicking game, and so they didn't do things that you need to do to help out a young quarterback making his first start on the road primetime game. They just didn't play well enough as a team to really be competitive tonight.
We heard a lot about lack of physicality, attention to detail, focus, execution. It's week 8 of the season. They were coming into prime time. They kind of knew what to expect against this Chargers team. When you hear those things inside the locker room, where does it leave you?
I think you got to go back to the fact that they just had a lot of attrition, a lot of injuries, a lot of guys in and out. You talk about the offensive line constantly in flux, the secondary constantly in flux. And so every time you have that much turnover in these different position groups, you're just going to have some mistakes even middle of the season where you think you should get those things ironed out early. But you got so many guys rotating in, so many guys, making their first start for this team, and that makes it difficult, and those mistakes tend to happen.
The expectations for Tyson Bagent, I'm just going to say, were maybe a little too high. People were throwing Brock Purdy out there, the comparisons out there. Tyson Bagent comes into prime time and didn't play well. But he didn't play, I don't necessarily say it was all on Tyson Bagent. His offense certainly didn't give him any help.
No, they didn't give him any help. You talked about that complimentary football again. You got to help a young quarterback out. They did that last week. They were able to run the ball. They were able to control the time of possession, so they didn't have to force the ball down the field. He didn't have to put the ball in harm's way like he was kind of forced to do today, and he made a couple of mistakes. So I don't think it's anything you put all the way on him, just like you don't put the entire victory on him last week. That's the problem. When people do that last week and say, oh, it's him, then when they come out here and lose, like that's him too, and neither one is probably true.
I think one of the most concerning parts for me watching this game against the Chargers was the defense, because Matt Eberflus, and you talked about it in the post-game press conference, he put them in positions to do well against this Chargers team, but Justin Herbert came out and looked like a superstar against this defense.
No, he absolutely did. I think Flus has been doing a really good job since he's taken over as play caller of this defense. I think he's been dialing up some timely pressures. They've been creating some turnovers. They've been stopping the run. And I think he did a lot of those same things today in terms of those timely pressures and making some good calls. The players simply didn't execute, whether it's missing tackles in open spaces that lead to touchdowns, or the big plays, or the one call where he dropped his DN straight into the passing lane. The ball hit him in two hands, and he just didn't catch it. And so those are the type of plays you got to take advantage of. The coach can only put you in a position to succeed. Then you got to go make the play.
Finally, we're kind of at the halfway point of this season. Have we seen who the Chicago Bears are for 2023?
I think you have. I think you've seen their ceiling. You talk about the way they played against the Commanders, the way they were able to put together a good game plan last week against the Raiders. I think we've seen, what their ceiling is, but I think that we've also seen them play worse than what their floor should be, right? They should be better than some of the performances that they put out on the field in terms of being competitive, being disciplined. They beat themselves with a lot of penalties in LA, and I think that's uncharacteristic of what Coach Eberflus wants them to be in terms of the hits principle and all those things like that, playing with intensity and playing smart, hustling. Those things are uncharacteristic of who he wants them to be, and so I think they can play better than we've seen them play, but I don't know if they can play much better than a couple of times we have seen them go out there and perform well.